What's up YouTube, it's the one and only Legend of Winning, aka Low, and before we get into this video, two quick announcements. One, there are two new episodes of the All Top Podcast that are uploaded right now, so make sure you click the links in the description. The reason why I'm telling you this is because A, I normally don't upload two podcasts on back-to-back days, and B, if you want to hear my predictions on the playoffs, that is the best way to hear it because I'm not going to be uploading like a 17-minute long video trying to squeeze in all of my thoughts about the playoffs. And the second announcement is that me and Agent decided to do a NBA playoff bracket challenge. I understand the playoffs start today, however, we're going to give you until Monday to enter the bracket challenge. All you have to do is click the link in the description. It will send you to a site called Bracketology. Make an account, and all you have to do is connect it to your Twitter, sign in, fill out a bracket, and apply that bracket to the Off Top Bracket Challenge. The last day to enter is Monday, before the playoff games start. And if you win the bracket challenge, you will receive a brand spanking new NBA jersey. So if you are interested in anything that I just said, make sure you check out the description below. Now with that out of the way, let's get right into the video. So the playoffs do start today when I upload this video, and there is one team, for whatever reason, and I have no idea why, many people are overlooking their possibility of making the finals. Let me be extremely clear here. I don't believe this team is going to win, but they have a chance to make it way deeper into the playoffs than many people are giving them the credit for, especially because they have the ability to avoid a lot of the teams that would potentially give them matchup problems until the conference finals. A team that many people are writing off due to their lack of experience, or they may not just have a full understanding of how deep this team really is, and that team is the Philadelphia 76ers. I know not too long ago I made a video claiming that I don't trust the process. However, there has been a lot of things that have changed since I've uploaded that video, and plus I've seen a lot of progression from Embiid and Ben Simmons within a year's time. And with them playing in the Eastern Conference with the seeding that allows them to avoid Toronto and Cleveland until the conference finals, there is a really good chance that they have the ability to make it all the way to the NBA Finals, and here's why. So in the first round, the Philadelphia 76ers match up with the Miami Heat, a team that really doesn't have any star talent whatsoever, and because of that, the huge advantage swings in favor of the Philadelphia 76ers, as the Sixers will enter that series with the two best players on their roster with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. So with that advantage heavily favoring the Philadelphia 76ers, the Miami Heat, a team that again doesn't really have that much star talent, is already at a massive disadvantage. Also, the Philadelphia 76ers, they will have home court advantage, so that's also a huge push in their favor as well. And when it comes to the defensive side, that also heavily favors the Philadelphia 76ers as well, which is going to give the Miami Heat a massive problem. Because like I said earlier, there aren't any really star talented players on this roster, so they will struggle to score from time to time, which is something that they consistently struggle with the entire season, as they had one of the worst ranked offenses in the NBA. And because of those factors, especially when it comes to the offense for the Miami Heat, I just don't see how they're going to be consistent, along with the fact that the 76ers, even beyond Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, are just a deeper team in my opinion. I have the Philadelphia 76ers knocking off the Miami Heat in like 6 games. Then moving on into the second round, you have either the Boston Celtics or the Milwaukee Bucks. And even though we should expect the Milwaukee Bucks to beat the Boston Celtics, and no, it wouldn't be an upset because the Boston Celtics, they have so many injuries on their roster, I don't know how anyone can even make an argument that it would be an upset. So hypothetically speaking, the Milwaukee Bucks make it to the second round, and I just don't see how they're going to be able to consistently stop Joel Embiid at all throughout that entire series. And not only that, Giannis, who normally would have a massive advantage against any other team in the Eastern Conference, really is not going to have that much of an advantage if he's going to be defended by both Ben Simmons and Robert Covington, as both of them are fairly taller defenders in the Eastern Conference as well. So Giannis is not going to have the same advantage that he normally has, and there's just no one on the team that's going to defend Joel Embiid. But not only that, the Milwaukee Bucks, they suffer from two major problems. One, defensively, this team has still not been able to find any type of rhythm within one another. They're always off when it comes to the rotations. Some players just don't close out on other players as much as they should. and they have a really bad problem when it comes to rebounds, which is something that Joel Embiid should just be able to feast and beast on. The second problem that they have is in the half-court setting. Offensively, this team becomes extremely stagnant, especially because they don't space out the floor that well. As Giannis and Eric Bledsoe, they're just not elite level 3-point shooters. And on top of the fact that John Henson and whoever they may be playing at the power forward position just isn't going to space out the floor that consistent either, it would make it that much more easier for the Philadelphia 76ers to defend them on a consistent basis. Because of these factors, along with the fact that in my opinion the Philadelphia 76ers are just, again, a deeper team, I have the Philadelphia 76ers potentially beating this team in 5 games. Now, let's say hypothetically speaking, the Boston Celtics make it to the second round, which again would be an upset. Let's just be clear about that. If the Boston Celtics make it to the second round, I have the Philadelphia 76ers sweeping them. I thoroughly understand Brad Stevens is a great coach. However, unlike the Milwaukee Bucks, I just don't see how Brad Stevens is going to be able to consistently outcoach Brett Brown, so much so that it would make it any type of competitive series. This is a team that will be heavily dependent on Al Horford, Jaylen Brown, and Jason Tatum, 3 players that will be defended by Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, and Robert Covington. And then the rest of the roster, even though yes, you're going to have some really great play, or at least I'm projecting that you're going to have some great play from some role players and some bench players such as Aaron Baines. Then you have T. Roro, possibly Marcus Smart if he does come back. There's just not going to be enough firepower offensively for this team. Now on the defensive end, there is a little bit more that we can talk about when it comes to the Boston Celtics because how great they are on their rotations. However, there isn't enough pieces, at least in my opinion, that play at an elite level defensively for them still to be able to consistently guard the Philadelphia 76ers, especially inside, as Joel Embiid, yet again, will have a massive advantage. Not only that, you still have to take into account that this is still a fairly young team. And I know many people are going to point out the fact that the 76ers are also young. However, their young talent in both Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid are put at massive advantages due to their size difference. And on top of that, even though yes, Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid are fairly young, their role players and their supporting cast are veterans that are savvy enough not to fall into the defensive traps that Brad Stevens is more than likely going to implement to deter them from making the right plays. Which thus brings us to the conference finals, and it is a little bit more of an interesting conversation. I'm not going to sit here and try to waste any time with the Washington Wizards and the Indiana Pacers because we all know they're not going to make it to the conference finals, but that does bring us to the Toronto Raptors and the Cleveland Cavaliers. 2 teams that, in my opinion, have the best chance in the Eastern Conference to beat the Philadelphia 76ers simply due to the experience that they have on their roster. However, if we're stripping away experience, which is a pretty crazy argument on my end, but if we're looking beyond experience, then the matchups, it's either even or they favor the Philadelphia 76ers pretty heavily. When it comes to the Toronto Raptors, they have a really good coach, they have great bench depth, and there's not too many pieces that are heavily favored for the Philadelphia 76ers when it comes to matchup problems. So I don't really think that Ben Simmons nor Joel Embiid will really be able to get off as much as they have been. The one thing that I do believe that separates them in the wild card during this entire series would be Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan, as offensively, even though they've definitely evolved during the regular season, during the playoffs, especially during very pressured situations, you have certain players that go back into really bad habits of heavy isolation and forcing shots that really shouldn't be attempted, and I see that pretty consistently with Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan, and it may not fly against a really great defensive team with the Philadelphia 76ers. But nevertheless, I do believe that this series will be extremely interesting and might be pushed all the way to a Game 7, but then that brings us to the Cleveland Cavaliers. And the Cavaliers, let's just keep it plain and simple here. They have LeBron and Kevin Love on their roster. And so when we're talking about these star level matchups, LeBron and Kevin Love, as much as I think Joel Embiid is going to dominate Kevin Love, especially in the low post and facing up and just beating him off the dribble, LeBron should be on a whole nother level this series due to the lack of experience with his team. However, the 2 problems that I see with the Cleveland Cavaliers is 1, defense, as defensively this team consistently struggles, and I don't really see how anyone is going to be able to stop Joel Embiid at all on this team. And then the second big problem that I have with the Cleveland Cavaliers is their lack of depth. Even though I know they added a lot of role players that have the potential to show up at very pivotal times, such as Rodney Hood, Jordan Clarkson, Larry Nance, and George Hill, all of those players also have the ability to just disappear at very pivotal times as well. And that is something that I could easily see happening consistently throughout that entire series. And so, as great as I believe LeBron is, if it's really just him and Kevin Love against a very well-ran team with the Philadelphia 76ers with 2-star athletes, I do believe that could be a problem for the Cleveland Cavaliers this year. But again, I still can see this series going to 7 games, and if it goes to the 7th game of that series, again, anything could happen. But with that being said though, I want to be extremely clear here, everything that I just said was hypotheticals and it's an extreme stretch. If I was a betting man, I would not bet on the Philadelphia 76ers to make it to the NBA Finals, but it wouldn't surprise me if they did. But if you enjoyed the video and you feel like there's someone else that many people are sleeping on, please let me know what you feel about this video and your opinions in the comment section below. And please don't forget to click on the links in the description. Make sure you watch the podcast and enter into our bracket challenge. Until then, I will see you all next time. Peace.